everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to this video. We're gonna do something playful here and discover what your person's flirt style is, and that way we can discover whether they're flirting with you or not. You can also be thinking of yourself. It's about any person in your mind, by the way, so the messages you pick can resonate with you too. So pick accordingly. We have pile 1 over here, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. Make sure to choose intuitively for the most accurate reading. If you're not really sure how, you can visit the video in the ribbon above and it will walk you through it. Once you've made your choice, the reading will be in the timestamps in the description box in the comment below. So whenever you're ready, we will get started. Hi pile 1, welcome to your reading. We will see if your person is flirting with you, we will see what their flirt style is, and also what this person is like individually. So that way, based on how much it resonates with you, you can see whether this person is flirting with you or not. So let's get into it. We'll see what your person's like, then we will see what they flirt like. All right. So we have the Queen of Wands coming up first. They can be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Do not have to be, but that is an indicator. We have 10 of Wands. They take responsibility, but another fire sign. They might have a tendency to help too much or spread themselves in multiple directions and then tire themselves out. We also have 3 of Pentacles. So this person's quite helpful and cooperative. So in a team, they work really well. They're a natural leader. They take on a lot of responsibilities. They could be the elder child of the family, perhaps 2 siblings. Again, these are very, specific indicators, so they don't have to be accurate for each and every person, but these are some lists that I'm getting. Overall, this person is quite charismatic, can be good looking, but definitely seems quite busy or sociable in their lives, but they are doing something that is very useful to the community in some way. They could be into volunteer work, or again, they're very helpful in how they're connecting with their immediate environment. So in the street, around their society, or where they live. It can even be the workplace or in class, depending on what you are doing at this time, and also what this person is. 10 of Wands can indicate that they have gone through quite a bit in life and they've learned a lot to see the positive in things, because otherwise you're just digging yourself into a muck. So they're a very natural motivator and they're very inclusive of every type of person. They know how to work with a diverse group of people, or they are able to have empathy and understanding about different types of people. They're not naturally judgmental. They are very confident in themselves, but they also beat themselves down. And that's exactly what makes them a very good person, because they're always trying to be better. Okay, whether that is in a career sense or in a personal sense or just to the people around them. It seems very like they are very proactive as well, but it's sort of like building character, building a portfolio, building something. There is a build up that this person is very oriented towards. So big goals, aspirations, has many interests, hobbies, passions. So they're busy in that way. I don't see very much about a lot of social interactions. It's not like they're hanging out with a bunch of people doing something reckless or nothing of that sort. So it seems very collected, but also confident. They are very, it's not like they're socially awkward, okay? So the 3 of Pentacles is like you're able to work with different types of people, right? So you need to have a good insight of the different backgrounds as well. What else? Definitely contributes a lot, not only in a sense of community, but even to their surroundings, to their families, saves up and manages resources, is quite responsible when it comes to themselves. And that's why they're very serious. They do go for responsibilities, but they're also very serious about maintaining promises. There is no flaky vibe coming through from this person. So once they decide, they're into the long haul type of thing. So I'm going to say that they are a sincere type of flirt, but we'll see what cards we get here. Okay, so the first one we have here is the 5 of Cups. Okay, through empathy, this person shows flirtation or affection, let's say. This person seems more, affectionate rather than in it for the short haul type of person. Anyway, then we have the Four of Pentacles, a little bit shy, and we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so it can be also through physical gestures, not heavily though, because they don't want to cross any boundaries. So they're kind of reserved and shy, and they wait for, like, they will say something or spark some interest, but then they will wait for confirmation from the other side before, you know, going for the next step. So it's a constant validation that they might want. So yeah, if you needed them to pursue you for a bit longer before you gave validation, then it might not work with this specific person. Then Four of Pentacles also indicates that they're very stable and they're very selective about the type of people they give their interest to. So if they're showing they're interested, it is likely that, you know, you're the only one who they are interested in at this time. They could have had some disappointments in terms of relationships or emotional commitments, even if it is connected with friendships or parent figures. Just in the expression of love, they might not have a lot of support, and that's why they kind of show the emotional side of things through motivating people or through helping out others instead of getting very mushy about it. So yeah, Five of Cups is not very comfortable with expressing feelings directly, but shows it through different gestures. So they could be, you know, looking at you from a far off distance instead of being all up in your space, for example, and they want to be there when you genuinely need them. So if you're actually upset about something, then, you know, they will be there for you. Again, I'm feeling more of a sincere type of flirt, but can be really fun too, because Queen of Wands and Three of Wands can be really fun. But again, for that first step, they look for some validation, and then once they get the go, they can be quite fun and flirty. And like I said, they're very committed type of person, so they don't seem to be making promises here and there. So yeah, they look for that same type of trustworthiness and reliability from their partner as well, when they sense that they're very protective of their people. Like I said, they take all their responsibilities quite seriously, so the same thing goes with you, if they're flirting with you, or anything that they're anyone that they're flirting with, honestly. Okay. Okay. I mean, you can be watching for yourself as well, right? So I don't want to exclude any possibility here. Anyway, then what else? Oh yeah, they're very good at being, affectionate, compassionate, and empathetic. Okay, very high, like, emotional IQ is. They just don't show it on the surface. So they're not the put heart on your sleeve type of person. That's it. But they definitely have a lot of richness and depth to that. We have imbalance. Okay, so it can be that they want to, give you some compliments, which are very genuine, and the moment kind of calls for it. It can be that they want to come off more casual. So like I said, maintaining a little bit of a distance, but can be like eyeing you from afar, or like just observing you, a quick checkout instead of a long drawn, gaze or something. Not too much eye contact, but not completely, off either. So if you're talking to them, that they will look very, very into your eyes, that type of thing. Very sincere, like you can feel as though, okay, like that's a lot. Okay. Interesting. So are they like this with everybody, or is this because I think the casual side of them throws you off a little bit, or that they're busy doing other things can be a little bit confusing, I feel, with this person. But yes, their flirt style is quite casual in that way. They don't want to come on too strong. Then we have the distraction of shiny things. Absolutely, once they start flirting, they can be quite raunchy. They can get physical as well, but again, not too much. They like to keep their boundaries, and they want to seek validation first before taking on next steps. That's quite important to them. Also, this can indicate that they might compliment quite a bit, or do something very obviously, going out of their way to make you happy about something. So if you make a demand, like, I wish it was like this, or I wish I had that, or something of that sort, which is manageable for this person to get, then they would be happy to go out and get that for you. Like if you're looking for an eraser, they're gonna go find an eraser. Maybe not, you know, do the whole I'm gonna get you the moon and the stars type of thing, not so dramatic, but absolutely with like little things here and there. I was getting something else. They're really into freedom. They're protective, but they're not possessive. Okay. They can be though, if there is like a push and pull, and if they don't feel extremely comfortable and trusted, then to like a whole other level. I feel like this person has gone through quite a bit, so they demand a little bit. So kind of based on perspective, whether that's obsessive or not, right? But either way, they're protective of who they are with, what they have, all of that, and they have high ambitions, but they're not very dependent on it. Okay, so there is a level of freedom that they crave, but not so much that, you know, it's a totally unknown type of situation, but they do take more time to be sure of something. There can be some expensive gifts, and yeah, this is like a luxury type of situation. Like, I'm going to spoil this person, that type of flirt. So again, you can't spoil each and every person, right? There has to be a special type of attachment there. So if they're flirting in this way, like meaningfully being there for you and talking to you, Three of Wands can also indicate short bursts of communication. So it's not long drawn out text where you're pouring your hearts out, but like kind of keeping in touch. Like, how was your day? Have a nice day. You know, things like that. When can we meet up? Or like, whatever. Okay, it's more casual, it's more lighthearted, but it takes on, you know, forward steps, and it shows good promise. Perhaps like leaving the text very open-ended, or like waiting for your response, and then the moment you reply, you know, they're texting you back. Also arranging for meetups, things like that. So on a more serious note, this person would be very into spoiling their partner. They respect their partner, so they want to be with someone who is who is earning their respect, and they are, because they want to be, you know, showing the same back. Okay. Then we have what's your honest truth. Yeah, this is that trust and reliability that I was talking about. Definitely seeks for a lot of honesty, and honesty in the sense like where we ourselves are also wanting to or capable of, you know, stripping back many layers of ourselves and kind of see the raw grief and all of that, the difficulties of the past. You're able to acknowledge them, the happiness as well, you're able to feel it with passion, things like that. It's a very passionate person. Queen of Wands already says that, but definitely portrays that in a very balanced manner. Once you get to know them a little bit, again, they open up perhaps a little bit slowly, but once they do, you discover so many different layers to this person. Very sincere at heart, and is able to spot sincerity as well. This person believes like little gestures go a long way. Sometimes people try a little bit too hard to make their feelings known or make things obvious when it does not need to be. Sometimes some implying, you know, being implicit, not implicit, but, you know, implying something is sometimes more attractive because it keeps that question mark and you keep on wanting to look for more. So there is a slight of like that, something like that. But yeah, okay. Then let's see some more. What is this person's flirt style? And if you ask them something, they're going to be very direct when answering, okay? So they will tell you the real answer. They can say it in a very nice way for sure. It's not like they will be cutthroat and really brutal, but they will be honest. That much I can say. And that's the sincerity again coming through. They're not like this with each and every person, only with people that they feel like they can be like this with. Okay, so then we have Venus, Aries, and the 11th house. Yeah, okay, so they are definitely courageous, very bold in their expression when they are flirting. Again, they have to first feel comfortable, and this usually happens once you are friends. So friendship is the required level of comfort, or, you know, a basic level of relationship that you that this person wishes to have before expressing more. But once they do, it's quite passionate and raw, like I was getting before. It can also indicate that they are more raw online than they are in person. Okay, so you might be confused in person whether that was something or not. Yeah. There is definitely a desire to be more expressive, okay, but I feel like they keep holding themselves back from being too much. They fear that maybe something is out of line or out of place. So yeah, they look for that validation. And 11th house is kind of a far off, like a more global look at things, right? So from a distance, that type of vibe is coming through matched belief systems, through communication platforms and so on. They are able to show more of their flirty side. They're definitely quite spontaneous, by the way. They're what a contrast, right? I was constantly feeling like this is so contrasting. I don't know how I'm going to put this together. But even here, Venus is in the opposite sign of, Aries. That's not where Venus should be. It should be Mars. But Venus, the planet of love, is in aggressive or like very driven and passionate in Aries, right? So that's very interesting. Definitely quite driven and ambitious. That's absolutely coming out. So, if they are talking to you and making you a part of their future as well, or like, where do you want to go to college next, or do you plan on staying in this company for longer, or, if you're meeting somewhere nearby in your community, then like, are you planning to live here or something like that, where they want to connect with what's next for you. Does that work? Does it match up? Because they're not looking for one day later, right? It's more of like, let's see it, like a couple of months should at least be possible, right? Yes, but absolutely spontaneous. Like I said, the luxurious style coming through again, can be into traveling. So short trips, day trips, that sort of thing, if that is matching up. They're not into forcing anything to happen at all, but they are definitely clear in the way that they demonstrate when they're into someone. And also, if they get that kind of validation back in the first steps, then they would be more obvious. Anything else? Let's see, we have the Four of Swords. Yeah, very comforting vibe. They would like to have deep conversations, belief systems, cultures, traditions, backgrounds. That's what they would like to talk about or connect on. The principles or the value system should match up. Quite serious again. Hierophant is quite traditional and sincere once more, so keeping to promises. Four of Swords indicates that they would make you feel very comfortable, and still has a casual approach and maybe can seem passive once in a while, especially when they're still making sure of things. But they're observing everything, and you can see from their observation, or whether they're observing you or not, if they're intending to flirt with you or are flirting with you, depending on what stage you are within your connection. So that's what I have for you, pile 1. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in some of my future readings. Take care. Bye. Hi pile 2, welcome to your reading. We will see how your person flirts and whether they are flirting with you, but before that we will see what this person is like. That will give us a better idea of what their flirt style is, and then we get into what the style is. Alright, and you can be watching for yourself as well. It's just any person that you have in mind. I'm just assuming it is someone else, but it can honestly apply to you as well. Okay, so we have the Magician as a part of their personality. We have the Sun as well, and quite positive so far, quite outgoing. And we have Four of Wands as well. So this person is outgoing, social, well liked, and communicates freely, openly, and conveys their thoughts, ideas. It could be that they are quite opinionated, but they're not like forcing it on anyone. They just have their own opinions and they're very sure of them. They can be Gemini or Leo. Their Mercury placement is something really strong, so this makes them quite intelligent and also adaptable. They're able to process a lot of information. Perhaps they like to, like more informative sites or conversations or things like that, where it's not really gossiping and stuff. They also love to have a good time. They spend plenty of time celebrating and enjoying with their friends and other close members. They can be part of many different groups. the Magician is very widely connected, so their social circle is quite large. They know who their closest members are, but they're very open and outgoing in general. They can be quite a good motivator. They're quite optimistic about life, about themselves, and they love to spread joy. They're all about expansiveness, openness, acceptance, and they make that like quite clear. I'm also getting equality because the Magician, like again, Gemini is like 2, it's the twins, and also it's kind of adaptable. You have to make do with both types of elements, you know, both the masculine energy and the feminine energy. It's not really, you know, one or the other. There's like a different type of blend in each and every person, and they're very open and accepting of that, and they're kind of ensuring that in their environment that type of openness and accepting attitude is maintained, right? So that's something that they share with their entire social circle. So absolutely, like outgoing and fun-loving person, light-hearted, very playful. I would say that their flirt style is as well open and playful instead of, you know, traditional, serious, that type. But let's get into it and see a little bit more. We have Death. Okay, that quickly turned intense. All right, we have Death that rules Scorpio. They could have Scorpio placements too. We have the King of Cups. So this one is as well related with Scorpio and other water signs, so Cancer and Pisces. And we also have the World. This one is ruled by Saturn. All right, so this took a very serious turn. I was expecting something like really light. I did just mention playful, but it looks like they're more intense and very empathetic. It looks like they're more Leo or fiery and, you know, active on the surface, but when you get a little bit closer and, you know, to the level where you're flirting with each other, you know, they're quite not serious, but they're quite deep. So they could stare very deep into your eyes, or they could ask you very deep questions, and they can talk about taboo topics, you know, they just get straight to it, I feel. But they're also very compassionate about how they put it. They're definitely a good communicator, so they know how to parcel it such that it's not making you feel uncomfortable, but they really enjoy vulnerability. They feel like flirtation is kind of half missing the point if you're not also getting vulnerable by the moment, and that can be a sexual vulnerability or it can be an emotional rawness. You know, either way there needs to be some intimacy that is developed through that, such that, you know, it's clear that you're flirting and it's not just some friendly banter. So it's nice that this person separates the two, so it would be very clear to you whether this person is flirting with you or not. The difference is quite large. And the World talks about like giving you compliments or taking you places, or, you know, talking about travel or talking about different experiences. The World is also the world at large, so different cultures around the world, different information, different lifestyles that is going around in different parts of the world. There can be talks of, you know, this person might want to travel in the future or loves to travel right now, or adores culture, so like likes to, you know, fusion things, or kind of mix and match different styles and points of view. So there can be a lot of conversation about where do you come from, what do you value in life, what your beliefs are, what your cultures are, and it's all very open, okay? By the way, that's just part of the flirting, the really wanting to get to know you with the World. Other times it's definitely like, you know, in a fun sense, like, okay, hey, by the way, what do you think about this? They know how to start a conversation, they know how to get someone interested, but then once they have them, they form a deeper and meaningful bond. And perhaps that's why they're very clear of who is their inner circle and who is more of an acquaintance, meanwhile who is like a high school friend or whatever, you know. So in that same line, they're able to kind of clarify whether they are flirting with someone, if they're interested in them more deeply or not. You can see from how the conversation develops. They're slow to act, but they're very deliberate as well. The King of Cups is like, my intuition will tell me, or my emotions will tell me when, you know, I need to take the next step. Does not want to rush the process. With Scorpio as well, they're very cautious with who they open up to, because they can be very, very vulnerable. So, they don't want to get too close too fast. They do want to get to know someone properly before they get with them, in whatever setting or social relationship arrangement that, fits you guys. But yeah, they're definitely, they can start off light, they can build up kind of, I feel like a ramping that is going on in upward spiral. There can be different callbacks. If you text or you talk to each other regularly, then it can be that they call back previous conversations you might have had, referencing to other memories. So it's sort of an inner conversation and a joke that only you guys share, or a memory that you share, and so on. So that callback adds more of that familiarity and creates more of a comfort zone for both of you to kind of open up and also see for yourselves where you lie. So let's say you guys went to school and now you're talking while you're in college or you're working. So there can be a referencing back to some memory in school, and then you can either think, wow, we have come such a long way from then, or we have gone so far apart since then. That was way too different from now, so it's a nice check for this person, for you as well, and kind of to see how this relationship is developing. So absolutely likes to go full circle and likes to upgrade things. So they don't stay fun and chatty and flirty for a very long time. When they are sure they like to take the next step, they still keep this persona. It's not like what they're showing on the surface is fake in any way. They're absolutely loving and optimistic, but while flirting, they want to make sure that you know that you're special. Okay, that's the thing about very emotional people, or who want that truth and vulnerability. They will make you feel very, very special. The world is like, you are my world, that type of thing, where you don't feel even once that, they could be interested in someone else. This, of course, is a slow ramp up, like I've been saying repeatedly, but just to remind you, when you know that they're serious, it is going to be that they honestly just make you feel like that. So whatever your love style is or preferences, they definitely would make sure to deliver on those expectations. They're also very fair, I'm getting, because the Magician and the King of Cups is giving me the, call a spade, that type of vibe. So if something mismatches, it's not a deal breaker. It's just something to be very honest about, so that it's not a deal breaker at any point. So let's say, your preferences, like your love language does not match up. You might be more practical, they might be more verbal. So in that way, it does not match up, but it doesn't mean that you can't be together, right? So they want to know and ask these kind of deeper level questions to really get to know as to how you can work together, not really if you can work together or not. Whatever that social arrangement is, whether that's, more open relationship or, one-on-one commitment, whatever your case is at this time, all right? Yeah, I'm really getting that. Although they're more, honestly speaking, they're more into wanting more of a deeper bond and commitment, but if it's not realistic, they're not going to force it, okay? Let's say you live in very different parts of the world and it's not possible for you guys to be physically together. They will connect it with you on different levels. That is possible for you guys. It's not like a deal breaker as long as both parties are working on it in that way as well. They're quite fair. If you are extending, then they are not going to be the one to ditch you, as long as, there is cooperation, there is mutual understanding, and there is communication, things like that, then I'm not going to hang anyone out to dry, that type of vibe. And that goes for any person in their social circle. So they take their promises or their bonds, more specifically, very seriously, okay? All right, next we have integrate your knowing. It's a bit of a hermit vibe. It's like gathering wisdom and, lessons from the previous experiences, using what you know, practicing good judgment. Then we have what does your soul say, which is again kind of that death and the King of Cups type of vibe. It's very serious, sincere in that way, very deep and meaningful. They don't like to dwell in that space, but they absolutely like to share that type of energy with the world. There they like to keep things moving and changing, so it's not always serious, it's not always fun, right? It's very dynamic, and they feel as though going through different experiences and emotions together can help create a better bond between two people. Okay. Then we have imbalance. Yeah, that's kind of coming up a couple of times already. With the Magician as well, there's no like, set gender role, so it's not a traditional type of flirt. It's not heavily serious. I would say it is more playful, but can also switch styles as is required. Imbalance also suggests that they first start off with that casual conversation. If they are giving you attention, if they're observing you, or they're kind of making references to something you might have posted online or you might have said previously, then that's something that they use to casually elongate the conversation or leave it a little bit open-ended so that it continues later on. What else? Yeah, again, no gender roles here, so they don't mind being the passive one once in a while. Okay, so normally they are pursuing, but there are times when they just be with themselves and they do some personal reflection. The integrator of your knowing is like, finding a better direction. They're quite intelligent, so they are kind of planning or organizing their life. They might be looking to their next goals and milestones. They might be paying attention to other people. Four of Wands can indicate family as well. So they can be into many different things. So they absolutely spend some time alone because they need to. They kind of make that a priority. And in that case, they like to hang back and see if their partner would extend the same, because it's not like one person does everything, meanwhile the other person does not, or, one person only does specific things, meanwhile the other person is only doing other stuff. That way you're kind of imbalanced individually, and that kind of creates more codependency, which this person is not all about. Death can indicate like jealousy, but they would definitely not show that. So if you are not showing them affection, for example, then they would be a little bit jealous if you're showing it to someone else. But once again, they're very open and accepting anyway, so they don't hold on to grudges for very long. King of Cups is quite matured. As it is, they're very understanding and receptive to whatever you have going on. You can have a very honest conversation with this person. Absolutely. Oh, and imbalance also suggests they might be looking for someone who is not like them. So opposites attract type of dynamic. I think they believe in that. So I feel like this... the way they flirt is kind of trying to attract more of that, feminine energy vibe, or the more spiritual, sensual, deeper vibe, because the way they naturally are kind of normally outside, they are quite open and out there and pursuing and active and all of that they kind of miss the inner life, and they would like more of that reaffirmation, of that slowing down, understanding things, and so on. Okay, so they like to be in balance themselves. They like their partner to be balanced as well, but for the two people to be kind of opposite to one another. I hope that's making sense. Okay, it's like it seems a little bit complex, but it always becomes like that when I see Leo and Scorpio together. There's quite a few complexities in there. Deep feelings, strong persona, very magnetic person as well. And tries to attract a person through magnetism. Could be into manifestation, by the way. That's very possible. What does your soul say? King of Cups and the Magician, all of that can talk about that. Okay, now let's see. What else can we know about the FLIRT style, please, for pile 2? They would like to develop a sort of intuition. Oh yeah, speaking of that, we have 12,000 Sagittarius. So matching belief systems, cultural, not the same cultural background, but having a similar belief about like what do you stand for, what do you value, things like that. Then with Saturn, that again combines with the world, taking a serious look at things, or, being very realistic about things. So not trying to hold on to something for too long. They're not very dependent on anything. They're not very restrictive either, but they can be restricted in the way that they show their emotion. Like I said, they can take on the more passive role once in a while. Either because they have their own obligations going on, or they're kind of waiting to see if the person they're advancing towards is interested in them as well. Yeah, they definitely would want to connect intuitively. That would be a very serious marker for them to understand if you are meant for something more, or is this playful. Either way, again, it's not a deal breaker. It depends on what their mindset is at that time, or like everything is not for every age nor for every situation, right? So they definitely respect each person's evolution and also their own. Yeah, 12th house is very like release attachment type of vibe. So deep emotions, deep love, unconditionality and all of that. But at the same time, not at all restrictive. It's sort of like if you love something / someone, you let them go. If they are there, then they're yours. If not, then they were never. So either way, holding on to something is not really purposeful. I feel like this person really practices that. Yeah. Okay, let's see some more. Anything else for pile 2s? I'm not gonna take that many. Pile 2s, please. Their person's flirt style. Oh my goodness, we have the Temperance here. That is card number 14, which we saw with imbalance. And I was reminded of the Temperance and the Libra. I was kind of explaining the Temperance in that card. Honestly, the opposites attract type of vibe. Really into that. And we also have the 6 of Pentacles. Yeah, this is the equality that I was getting earlier. So they extend themselves once and then they expect the same in return, or like equal, involvement in the relationship. So it does not have to be like literally that you text once and then they text once and then you're not so mechanical, but it's still like realistic. Are you extending yourself? If yes, I'm willing to do the same. If no, I'm willing to do the same, So how are you treating each other? That's very important to this person. This is a really nice thing this card to come up, because it indicates you have passion and heat, and you definitely have that playful, flirty vibe, as in this person, but also can be very deep, compassionate, and understanding. So nothing is too crude, nothing is harsh, nothing is extreme, You're not constantly talking about very deep feelings. You also come out of the surface and have fun, roll in the sun, things like that. So it easily flows, basically. This person can talk non-stop, so kind of leaves lingering conversations, talks throughout the day in sparse times. So like, have a nice day, whatever. And also later on, like, did you check this out? Or like, so whatever it is. So checking in a couple of times through the day or through the week, depending on how close your relationship is at this time. That is a significator that this person is flirting with you as well. All right, so yes, that's what I have for you, pile 2. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts. If you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is there in the comment and the description. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye. Hi pile 3, welcome to your reading. We will see if your person's flirting with you and what is that flirting style. But before that, we will see what your person's personality is like. So you know how much it's resonating with you, and we can also get an idea of what the flirt style can be like. So a little bit more context, basically. By the way, you can watch for yourself as well, because this is just a reading of whoever the person is in your mind, so that person can be you as well. Okay, so the personality, we have the Star card. This can indicate that they have a Sun, Moon, Rising Aquarius, or they have an idealistic way of thinking. They're definitely futuristic, they're optimistic, they can be quite inventive, innovative, and visionary as well. We have Death and Rebirth. This connects with Scorpio. Been getting that energy quite a bit. Or like that intense vibe that's coming through in all of the piles so far, honestly. Whether that's in their flirt style or their personality. Okay, and we have the Queen of Cups, which is a water sign too. So Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, that can be another placement, and Aquarius is one. Apart from that, it talks about they're very sensitive, vulnerable, They love intimacy, and this is kind of the raw intimacy as well. So they kind of are vulnerable with the people around them. They might be very selective of who they are close with, but at large they are compassionate. Okay, so they might have good feelings and good wishes for the world as a whole or their community as a whole, but they might be hesitant to get too close to people too fast. They're very observant as well. They can perhaps understand psychology, or they just have a knack for body language interpretations, things like that. They have strong intuition. They can be an empath here as well. They're very intelligent as well. They can be someone in a social media, like in a public form. Doesn't have to be, okay? Now, the star can also indicate that they're connected with the universe, into the higher self. Also with the Queen of Cups, that's what it suggests, that they can be quite a spiritual person as well. They might be on a journey of awakening of their own self, more self-realization, for example, kind of wanting to bring loftier or higher visions into practice, into everyday world. I feel like they want to be of service in some way. So they can be either in healing professions, or they could be volunteers, into charity work, or like kind of some type of free work they could be doing. Or they are quite compassionate in how they express themselves. They can go with the flow as well. They kind of trust the flow of things. They're not very forceful of anything here. But I feel like they can be very honest as well. Death and rebirth is kind of like, what's the point of hiding? Like it is as it is. The truth is right here. There's no ifs and buts. You don't negotiate with truth, right? It is as it is. So I feel like they are very much about living according to principles and your own morality, your own ethics, and so on. So they can ask like big questions like this, even if they're not doing that out loud. They definitely have a thought process that's kind of evaluating their experiences, wondering where we come from and why we were created. There are these big questions that they ask. Okay, let's get some more detail, because I have no idea how this person would flirt, honestly. It can be like serious, it can be polite, it can be a couple of things. So let's see. We have the Knight of Swords, all right. Then we have the Queen of Swords. Okay, that's interesting. Both of these are air signs. That relates with Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra as well. And we have the Five of Wands. Okay, delayed gratification, but impulsive and straightforward. So once again, like, what's the point of hiding? Like, life's too short for doing stuff like that, kind of prolonging something. So they might be very communicative. They can just say it out loud. They can be more complimenting. They can be more expressing in a verbal sense, so like poetry or something, just letting you know that I care about you, things like that, right? So they are obvious enough, but they check for mental compatibility. Okay, the other piles had like more emotional compatibility or a spiritual understanding. Also, the first one had more of a physical thing, but over here it feels more mental. Can you joke together? Can you talk with each other? Can you be open with one another? How honest can you be? So they value that communication is super key. So they might be more prone to developing a digital connection first, or talking over the phone a couple of times before taking things forward onto a more physical or a tangible level. Mentally and communication-wise, connecting with each other is a very good place for them to express themselves, because they're very, again, strong emotions, strong thoughts. They can have very revolutionary ideas, and they can be different from the people that they have grown up with, or for somehow like their experiences have led them to a deepening of their emotions. So it can be hard to express these things. Aquarius has a tendency of thinking a lot, but the inability to say things very directly, immediately, because it's ruled by Saturn, and there is a form of restriction there. Also with Scorpio, they try to hold things in. They're very private by nature. They're not trying to hide or manipulate anyone here necessarily. I really don't think so, especially with the star here. But they definitely have a hard time expressing it face to face or like immediate. It's not as great as when, you know, digital or just talking about something. So they might not be so great at maintaining eye contact or doing the whole physical touch thing, or waiting for long periods of time in order to express themselves. Yeah, so they immediately like to have a conversation going, and then they take it a little bit higher. It's not really on the playful level, but it can be quite impulsive, spontaneous. So the topics can change here and there, hearing your views. They really listen, by the way. So if they're listening to you instead of drifting off into their own thoughts, then they are into you. Yeah, so the witty, flirting, puns, you know, just humor. In general, that's a way that they can flirt. Five of Wands, like I said, delayed gratification, tension, chemistry. These are things that they try to cultivate because they're trying to create an air of magnetism and appeal, okay? So they're not really, even if they're being direct, they're not going for everything in one go, okay? They can pace themselves. They can kind of hold back, kind of hot and cold type of vibe. Not in an annoying way though, but given that Five of Wands is generally an annoying card, perhaps that can be a little bit annoying to you subjectively, but that's not what they're like trying to do. Maybe in a playful annoyance way, like they can see that it is irritating that, you know, they're pulling back or something. Again, it depends on what level of relationship you're already in, what state that is, but either way. Yeah, they definitely attempt, they start something and then they hold back. So it can also talk about they start a topic and then they want to listen to you, even if it's a disagreement. They can also be wanting a disagreement, honestly, because, you know, you can really tell whether a relationship is going to survive or not, or any bond, honestly, like friendships included. So whatever stage of connection you are on, if they are trying to have a fight with you or like have a difference of opinion or pick on differences in opinions, kind of discuss that a little bit more, then it's likely that they're into you as well, because it really shows how each person responds under tension. In a relationship of any type, you're going to come across so many different challenges, right? So if you're not able to communicate with one another freely, or you hold back important information, what you consider as important information or not, you know, there are many things here where, again, that mental compatibility comes in. And they want to kind of determine that. And also, they could have a little bit of a kink here, right? Maybe fights are something very interesting for them. The raised, you know, heat of things, and there's like smoke and everything. It really could get the two of you going, because I feel like this person is very agile in communication. They can really turn conversations towards a direction they want to take it. Not through manipulation, though. It's just that I feel a very clever vibe, honestly, okay? So you're fighting about something, but somehow like they're taking it to another turn, or there's like a joke in there and kind of lightens up, freshens up the mood. So now the tension breaks, you know, it's sort of that very dynamic talking. That's what this person looks for. Okay, wow. We have Feed Your Artist coming up next. So definitely very emotional, so can be through music, poetry, art, something of that sort that they express themselves. And then we have Choose Who You Are Becoming. And we have Your Past Supports Your Future. These two are interesting cards. This kind of becomes a little bit serious here. So this indicates that they can talk a lot about experiences and what they've learned, so the lessons that they've gathered. If they've traveled here and there, or they have communicated with people from different backgrounds, they could have a very keen understanding of, you know, the conditions or the lifestyles, the different realities that exist parallelly, and so on. So they could be talking about that with you, or whenever they're flirting, they definitely take that turn as well. Your past supports your future, so really talking about what your experiences have been, what their experiences have been regarding relationships, what are your expectations, you know, what do you want from your own personal life, whether your visions match, and so on. They are not one who would force someone to become, so they're not like wanting to mold anybody to fit into their life, right? So they want to see where it's a natural fit. So choose who you are becoming is sort of asking questions, very real questions about you. So what are your likes and dislikes? What are your preferences in life? You know, like career options or travel options, living options. You know, there are many different topics that this person might touch on, different compatibility points that this person looks into, whether your thought processes, your opinions, belief systems, your viewpoints on the world, those things, do they match or not? So again, that's where they're picking at. Like, there can be a debate, but they don't mind that at all. They're not uninterested if someone is not on the exact same page. They love a good conversation, a good debate, and so on, right? Okay, so that's very nice. Witty banter overall. All right, let's see some more. What is this person's flirt style? We have the 9th house again, the philosophy questions, you know, belief systems, ideals. All of these things are really loud with this person. Just in their own time and space, they're always talking in, or like thinking about stuff like this. They can be communicating with their close members the most about this in a verbal sense, but again, most of it seems quite internal. So I feel like they would want a partner where or like flirt with someone with whom they believe that they can talk about these deeper aspects of life. They of course don't make it too intense from the get-go. I'm not saying any intense cards here, but they would love to express their thoughts, feelings, and ideas with someone. And that's why it's important to have similar beliefs so that, you know, they can share their own. And also to have similar thought patterns or views about the world so that, again, they can open up more, or like feel safer. Once again, the does not mean that you have to have the same viewpoints. It's just that how do you convey them? Are you still respectful when you're opposing this person? Because it looks like they're very sensitive in that way, and they're always like mindful of other people's emotions and their space, and they kind of give that even if nobody asks for space. Okay. What else? Neptune is here, Capricorn is here. So they don't mind going slow and steady when it comes to like milestones of the relationship, but they would like to have a lot of dynamism in each stage. So if you're dating, then it's not like a linear, like if you date then you meet once a week type of schedule. They can like meet randomly. You can have various conversations that can take on a deeper turn, but it can also be very fun and light. There can be tension, etc. And when the moment feels right, and again, not in a rush, then you move on to the next stage, and then you savor that again. You go through your ups and downs, you have certain arguments, you deal with them, you know, you're still together, you don't hate each other, etc., etc. Right? So Capricorn is sort of that. You go through the trials, you face obstacles, you face difficulties, and that's where your tenacity comes. That reliability builds over time. You can't force it to happen. So that's why, you know, this person's not really into forcing anybody to be anything. They are very respectful of that. Neptune is also like they have a lot of intuition. So if you feel uncomfortable about something, they're likely to catch on to that. They definitely appeal to the emotional side of things as well. Neptune is very artistic and intuitive, creative as well. So definitely can be expressive in that way, in small little bits. So it can be a love letter, for example. Little bit old school, right? But it can be like really small things and practical things, or like tangible things that this person might, you know, convey to you or talk about. Okay, let's see some more pile 3 viewers. Anything else? Pile 3 viewers, person's flirt style. Yeah, there you go. We have the Ace of Swords. That's all about talking and mental compatibility. Really a talker. when they are flirting. Otherwise, not so much. They'll keep to themselves. But when they are flirting, they will not stop. And we have the star again. So I'm really feeling Aquarius then, right? So yeah, they're into the mental compatibility. They want to have mutual understanding. And if not, you can convey your points very well to each other. And, you know, they kind of like it as well because their viewpoints broaden as well. So they like learning, they like expanding their horizons, and I don't see ego. Okay, so if they don't agree with you, it's not a problem. Not for them and not for anybody that they're flirting with, honestly. Okay, so yeah, they're very open to hearing out the other side. That's what I see everywhere here. They can be excellent listeners for that reason. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Pile 3. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts. And if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box and the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye. Hi Pile 4, welcome to your reading. Let's see what your person's flirt style is, what their personality is like as well, so that we can get a good idea of what this person is like, what could their style be like a little bit more specifically. You can, by the way, pick for yourself as well. It's just any person in your mind, so it can be you too. Alright, so let's see the personality, then we get into the style. We have the Fool coming up first. So risk-taking, courageous, bold, faithful, exciting, bubbly, so very optimistic and joyful. And we have the World, which is quite the opposite of the Fool. This is the beginning of the tarot deck, and this is the ending of the major arcana. Then we move on to the everyday cycles of the minor arcana. So that's very interesting, the beginning and the ending of the arcana here. Okay, then we have 7 of Wands. And this indicates that this person is quite empowered, listens to their gut instinct, they believe in themselves, honestly with the Fool as well. They never forget to have faith in things, in themselves, in their experience, and so on. Could be well-traveled, well-educated, or is very open to trying out different places, different, cuisines even, and also they can be opinionated and they're not afraid to express that, even if it ruffles a couple of feathers. That's not a problem for this person. Is very open-hearted, very brave at like expressing anything, honestly, trying out different things. They can take chances as well. They can be sometimes impulsive though, but I think they've done that a couple of times already, and they've not yet like completed learning not to be fully impulsive. They kind of like being a little bit crazy sometimes, a little bit spontaneous, doing things they've never done before, but for the large part they have learned a lot of recklessness that does not lead to anything good. So, they kind of correct themselves. With the World, it gives that vibe that they are self-correcting, self-principled. So it's like other people don't tell them what to do. They know how to direct themselves. That's not because they're trying to be rebellious or something, but it's honestly like, you know yourself the best. You know your physical body. You know your strength. You know your capacities, sensitivities, and so on. So they don't rely on the world to tell them what to do, or other people's opinions don't really matter too much. They don't take it to heart, basically. They have a healthy boundary as well around them, and that gives them a lot more courage and self-empowerment. The Fool is a very liberated card as well, and quite innocent. So it can be that this person sees the innocence in others, and also respects the one in themselves, and that's why they're kind of self-preserving or protective about where they spend their time and energy. They're like really good at saying no whenever they need to. So self-care is like on point. They don't overextend in any way. They have their priorities clear. They know how to express themselves. But the Seven of Wands can give a bit of a defensive vibe too. So if they are provoked, then they would not be the one to attack, but they would absolutely defend themselves. And obviously there are times when, you know, that's a good idea. Other times it might be a bit much. But with the Fool there, they have like an open enough heart and they're open to understanding people. So I don't think they're defensive in a, you know, a negative way. They're not being passive aggressive, nor are they like just inflicting or projecting their own problems onto others. They're very mindful of their space. Also, they could be into physical strength exercises, mindfulness, yoga. Yeah, different types of movements that are about strengthening. Okay, so let's see what their flirt style is. We have the Nine of Wands. We have the Empress. It's very nice. I was kind of waiting for this card. Like, is no pile going to get the Empress? Then we have the Eight of Wands. Yes, very nice. Then we have Changes. And we have Creator Earth. Kind of relates with the Empress there. Very earthy. And we have Light in the Unexpected. Okay, so flirt style, very classy, but also fun and flirtatious. So classy is not like dull and boring, taking you to really quiet places where you can't really talk to each other or something. It's more like, you know, picnic, but treating you well. They're kind of holding your hand, helping you, you know, do things, and kind of asking you questions, giving you attention, things like that. Really being present in the moment. The Empress and the Eight of Wands is like only talking with each other, only being with one another, having a really fun, sparkly time with one another, not really thinking about the other distractions. So the Nine of Wands is kind of that single-minded, persevering focus. They don't give up. Like I said, they take chances and they don't give up on them. They see them through as well, because like I said, the Arcana is kind of completing here itself. So yeah, they don't make promises here and there. They're also not jumping into things without recognizing if they will follow through with them or not. And even if they have questions in between, they still figure out a way to complete, let's say, reading a book, or like delivering on promises, returning a phone call, you know, things like that. They don't leave people hanging in that way. That's why it's important for them to make it clear if they can't make something possible. So they won't say that, oh yeah, maybe sure, I will get back to that, I will totally read that, you know, the moment I get home, and then just, you know, zone it out once they are home or something. That does not happen. So the Nine of Wands can be just blocking out all other things so that they can be single-mindedly focused on your time together. So whenever you see that type of focus, they're like really into you and they're kind of trying to flirt here. Eight of Wands can be literally like flirt lines. You know, they might have certain lines that they think are really good, that they came up with, things like that. But I feel like it's also very personalized. So they first get to know you and then they come up with these lines. But very quick, spontaneous in that way. They could love to travel. The world is absolutely travel loving. Eight of Wands as well. So it could be day trips, short trips, kind of going outside a little bit, cycling together, or whatever it is that you share as an activity. The Empress can talk about picnics, so going somewhere far off and then having a nice cozy time together away from too much distraction. Light in the Unexpected can also indicate that they are there for you whenever you need them. Whenever you're going through a hard time where you feel blocked, as though there's a lot going on and you're pushing a lot and you just need that kind of support, this person is absolutely there for you. They might have a knack for saying the right things because, again, they understand you very well. So they can say the right things that would make you feel very calm and collected in a difficult situation. They also have a lot of insights and they've learned a lot from their own personal experiences, so they try to help out as much as they can in that way. They can give you some realizations or sort of different ways to look at things that can help you have a breakthrough if you're struggling through something. This depends on how close you already are, of course, so please apply as it resonates. They can also be, this talks about spontaneity, breaking out of the chains, so they don't like to keep doing the same things over and over again. Also with the changes, they like to break out of a pattern. They're not someone who would like to, you know, just leave the relationship and let it go into a rut and we'll see what happens. They take matters into their own hands. We can see that in their personality. So there is not a dull moment within any connection. If you feel as though you're having fun and at the same time getting to know each other and at the same time you're being treated well, then you know this person's into you. Creator Earth is very sensual, takes it slow and steady. So even if there are like sparks, a lot of chemistry, and you can feel it because they're expressing that and they're like showcasing it physically, they're showcasing it in a polite manner as well. And they're also being playful. Like these are 3 types of, you know, flirt styles that they're exhibiting here. You know that they're into you here. They could be into trying out different foods, cuisines, going to different places that neither of you have been to, or watching TV shows or something, you know, that neither one of you has watched. So both of you can share that experience together. Yeah, so different experiences, different times together, sharing that's really important to this person. Also, it's important for them to communicate very freely and openly, kind of get straight to the point, not to, you know, get distracted and leave in the gray area, because they don't function on that. They know where they stand. Like I said, they have their opinions, they know what they're thinking and feeling at every moment, and it is kind of their choice whether or not they want to express that out loud, or when they are going to express that, rather. 9 of Wands can indicate that they're selective about how they present information or how they come across. So they can be a little bit restrained in, you know, physical forms of contact. They still will, I feel, as they get closer, there is more physical touch, but it's not, you know, excessive in any way. It's very classy, it's very respectful and mindful of your own space. So they want to get a feel of, you know, what is too much, what is comfortable for you, things like that, before they're opening up. So in the beginning, they can be a little bit shy, unexpected, kind of, you know, reserved in that way, but they still ask you questions because they want to get to know you. They are also listening to you and they're paying attention to what you have to say because they are interested in you. They don't mind taking time, nor do they mind their person taking their time to open up, as long as it is genuine to whatever measure you might share a connection here. Okay, now let's see some more. Fire Force person, please. What is that flirt style? Aquarius, 7th house and North Node. Okay, so yes, communication is absolutely important, but it is about world experiences, world views, ideals, value systems, relationship ideals and expectations, obligations / freedom. These topics can be kind of in the forefront of their mind, and they are very motivated to talk about these types of things with whoever they flirt, you know, a little bit more seriously, because 7th house is kind of more of a committed partnership or like one-to-one friendships, so that it has a more personal touch to it. So I'm guessing whoever they're flirting with, including you, it's like a one-on-one thing, right? So I would say that falls in the 7th house, but they absolutely have an intention to see if there is a future, okay? It's done very lightly. Aquarius likes to be humorous, it's witty, it's kind of veiled with like communication and intellectual remarks and other quips and all of that. But there is like a background intention to see if it is something more, or if it can be something more. It does not have to be necessarily. Also, Aquarius can have quite a few opinions. It's an air sign, so absolutely goes with the theme. North Node indicates life purpose and mission. So I feel like they're very driven and motivated. They might look for someone who is matching up in their thought process, or is okay with giving them freedom and like go do whatever you want, that type of vibe. Or it can be like they're looking for an alternate relationship dynamic. But either way, North Node is kind of explorative. It is a new area we have not seen before, so that risk-taking attitude is more marked by that. So if you're naturally more risk-taking, you're more comfortable with exploring your own personal North Node. So in this category here, in this question, it seems like they were very bold, courageous, and very they have a lot of faith in themselves to follow through and follow up on anything that is different. Kind of that brethren, like they want to feel a certain kinship as well. They develop a kinship before taking things further. That's why they kind of hold back in the beginning, and they're a little bit reserved and aloof in that way. You might feel like they're too detached, but at the same time you might feel a little bit of a vibe from a distance, and then it might be a little bit confusing as to whether this person's into you or not. But it seems like that's kind of their style. They do it from a distance. They kind of see and observe before taking their chance, and then they do at some point. I feel like vulnerability is not really a very comfortable thing for them. With Seven of Wands as well, they might protect and preserve themselves a lot. The world as well as a circle of protection. They count on the universe to keep protecting them and so on. So they're not really interested in building toxic relationships or getting too attached to something, being codependent or in any way, restricting either person or their experiences. So they look from the outside first and see, kind of zoom in into the more personal level. But definitely if they are talking to you and they want to hear your thoughts, then that's a good sign that they're into you. And that develops into more of a, physical connection as the connection goes on. But yeah, that single-minded focus, I think that's a good indicator. Okay, then let's see. Pile 4 viewers, please. What else can we know about Pile 4's flirting style? Pile 4's person, please. How's their flirting style? Pile 4's person. Whoever they have in mind. Okay, we have the Sun coming up. What else? That is optimistic, positive, affirming. They can be quite motivating. Like I said, they can show you different perspectives. We have 3 of Wands as well. It's very lighthearted, carefree, and warm and generous as well. So with the 8 of Wands and the Empress, it goes so well because it's like seeing new places, trying out different things, merging your experiences, having a light and fun time, doing certain activity together. So, it's up and up instead of sitting in one place and doing something. It can start off with, shared activities and interests, but then it moves on to something more tangible, practical, sustainable of sorts, showing more of a, like we'll talk about this in the future, right? So something that is in the future which shows a possible promise of another conversation. They'll keep that going, so they don't put an end to things. They leave the door open. There are many opportunities to reach out, so there can be an exchange of communication. They might quite directly ask you for your information so that you guys can be in touch. And the Sun is again very warm and generous as well, so there is a that playful vibe, but then there's also physical affection, but then there's also honor and respect. Okay, so all of these together really gives me the vibe that they're playful, polite, and also physical in their flirting styles. So that's what I have for you, Pile 4. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts, and if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box and the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.